Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Sean Bell.
Yo.
Matt Murray.
All right.
And James Farlong.
Hello.
Now, I something that I have noticed about this podcast, and I do apologise because it is a hot topic at the moment, but this is a bit too blokey, this show, or not blokey enough. And I was thinking, if you're going to go blokey, let's just go proper full-on, hello. And there's one person in this group letting the side down, Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Matt, but you know.
All right, James.
Matt's a proper bloke. Matt loves a beer, don't you, Matt?
I'm drinking a beer right now.
Love a bit of football, don't you?
Oh, soccer.
Well, this is what I'm thinking. So, Sean, let's bring him into the fold just a little bit at a time.
No.
And I think the first thing he needs to do is support a football team. How do you feel about that, Sean?
I've got no opinion on any of them, so I'm a blank slate.
Can I choose one for him? Can I choose one? Because I've got...
No. I think that's the wrong thing to do, because you don't choose who people support.
It's got to be Stoke,
choose
though,
who
isn't
they
it?
support.
He's got to support Stoke.
Why?
Someone's got to.
I mean, I don't know about the team, but I know the place itself is fucking desolate, so...
I would have
you
him
should
down...
see the stadium.
I'd have him down as a Charlton supporter myself, but no, it's up to you, Sean. You got to pick a team.
Well, now?
Yeah, pick a team. Just pick a team.
Well, when I was growing up, everyone supported Man United.
Yeah.
But then Altringham's closer. It's also much worse.
Yeah.
So it's a gamble. See, I feel like you can't just pick a team. Like, you've got to have some sort of cultural roots there. You know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But then, have you got like a family team? Is there anyone in your
not
family
really.
support team?
I mean,
Nice.
wife's granddad supports Tranmere Rovers. If that.
There we go. Tranmere Rovers. You have got a new fan. Probably your most famous fan in Sean Bell, the Tranmere Rovers fan.
If anyone
James,
from Tranmere is listening, please
James,
get in touch.
while we do the next thing, could you just Google? Could you Google Tranmere Rovers and get a few facts for them? I want club nickname, name of the stadium, and manager, please.
Okay.
Because I have got something else to bring up this week before we get into the normal show, the meat of the show. And, here at the Computer Game Show, we've got a very, very good social media marketer in Matt Murray.
Oh, where's this going?
Take a bow, son. So basically, everything's linked together. We've got, Twitch pages, YouTube, Twitter.
Shit, I think I know what you're going to say here.
What?
No, go on.
Well, I logged in today to our Google account, Matt, and I went to have a look at some stats on the YouTube videos, and I noticed a few recommended videos on there, and I just thought he hasn't, has he? Has he really gone and used YouTube normally while still logged into the Computer Game Show account? It turns out he has, and in front of me now I have the complete history of everything that channel has been watching.
Oh shit.
I just thought we'd go through a few of the videos because
hang on. Can I just check?
There's been
I didn't think about this.
To be fair, Matt, there's a lot of like Peppa Pig stuff, and I get that because you got a kid, and YouTube videos are perfect for that stuff. But there's the odd little glimpse into your personality that crops up here. I mean, there are a few kind of like there's right. Okay, to start from the beginning, there's a lot of Battleborn videos, which fair enough. We were talking about Battleborn. You were probably looking into it. Wanted to be all research.
Little bit of research.
Fine. Mario Maker. Okay, I kind of get that. London pub customers pranked by bank.
Hang on. Are you looking at our watch history? Because I'm looking at it and I've got nothing on there.
No, there's. Have you deleted it all? Who's icelolly.com, Matt?
Oh, that's a client from work.
Oh, right. Okay.
We'll
let you off then, because some of these Ice Lolly videos are very strange. Street food around the world. So Matt's got an interest in street food. It does get a little bit more about it. I mean, there's a lot of Let's Play Tomb Raider Legend videos. Do you care to explain that?
Not on air, no.
Lara dresses up all fancy. This is the description.
For
a trip to Japan.
I can't in case someone's listening.
Big fan. You've got some My Little Pony videos on here.
That was Elodie.
Yeah.
No, because they're expo videos. I don't think she'd be into that, mate.
There could be a whole host of reasons why that was on there.
There is one.
I've just seen that one there. Yeah.
There are some excellent videos about streaming tips for Twitch.
Part
1.
Streaming tips or tits?
No, James.
Streaming tips.
If you were logged in, it'd be very different. History.
Were you looking up for ways to sort of become a Twitch hit then, Matt?
There's always a time for self-improvement, Dave, and YouTube's a perfect platform for that.
What tips did you pick up from these videos, Matt?
I got bored after about 30 seconds. So not a lot. I'm still working on that.
There's a lot of Peppa Pig stuff on here. Limmy playing Dark Souls 3.
It's a quality program, Peppa Pig. There's nothing wrong with it.
You know what? This is actually not as bad as it could have been.
Summer workout routine.
That's just another YouTuber that I know. So that's just we should get off this bit.
If it's any consolation,
although I'll tell you what, I'm fucking glad that this is nothing like as bad as it could have been.
I was going to say, like,
if
this was me, then it'd just be loads of videos of women pretending to give me haircuts and eye exams. So could be worse.
I don't believe that's all it is, Sean. To be quite honest with you, I think there's some worse shit on there because there's certainly some worse shit on my one. I mean, there is without a doubt. I'd be horrified.
There definitely is, Dave.
Yeah, I honestly and. James, Don't get me started with James. I mean, he's not even ashamed of the fact that he keeps watching this YouTuber over and over and over again.
There's nothing wrong
screen
with
grabbing it and sending it over to us.
There's nothing wrong with her at all. She's very talented.
Right.
Yeah, Dave, this isn't what I thought you were going to bring up, actually, because when I logged into the Computer Game Show YouTube channel the other day, I was looking at sort of the main homepage, as I do most days, and I looked at one of our playlists, the podcast one that had 4 Peppa Pig videos in it, where Elodie must have mistakenly added into the playlist. So I thought you were going to mention the fact that Peppa Pig was actually on the account. It's actually on our channel. But
oh yeah, I did notice that. You go to our videos on YouTube, there's a bunch of Peppa Pig stuff on there. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then it clocked. That's how it clocked. I was like, oh, right, okay, so Matt's been using YouTube logged in. And then I found all this weird shit about, tips and, summer workout videos and stuff like that. It's all very...
I've got to be beach body ready.
Right, okay, so
Dave, can I just say, when do you want this Tranmere Rover stuff? Because there's some cracking stuff on here.
Just pepper it in.
I really.
It's not about when I want it; it's about when Sean wants it. Well, for when he goes to his first game that we're definitely going to take him to
on Saturday.
I'm not entirely sure he's going to be happy with the nickname. Because the nickname, they've got 2 nicknames, and one of them is
the Gamer Gators.
Well, it's getting close to that. One of them is the Super White Army, which is
fuck.
Wow.
You are kidding.
Perfect for Sean.
I'm not joking.
Sean, before you get all weirded out, I'm pretty sure they play in white. So
no, I know,
okay.
I know, but
they do, yeah.
But then even if it was the other meaning, I'd fit right in. So
it's all right, Sean. It's okay. You can also just call them Rovers. So if you
okay,
you don't have to chant Super White Army. You can just chant Rovers. It's fine.
Right, okay, so we're back. I mean, I've been away for a week with Matt and family. We had a wonderful time in Butlins, didn't we? I mean, you might have already picked up that I'm incredibly ill and I've got a bunged up nose, so I apologise about that up front. But just deal with it. Sean, I don't know about you, but I certainly believe that the best way to determine how good of a father you are is how many of those soft toys you can get out of a claw machine. Because
rubbish.
Matt was
Absolute
fucking
rubbish.
How much money did you?
Are you
going to tell us it's all rigged? Yeah. We all know they're rigged.
Okay.
Exactly, Sean. They are rigged.
It did stop. Matt
Doesn't matter how much money you put in them, they are rigged.
Matt, what you put 13 to 15 quid in it?
You're joking.
Well, it's probably about £12 or so, but that's what I'm willing to admit in case my wife listens.
That's a lie. I mean, you'd already put £4 in before I'd put £1 in and got a toy out already. What was
That
it? No, it
doesn't
was
matter.
30p. I started with 30p. Bang, toy
Wait,
straight
hang on,
away.
wait. You know, I said they were rigged. Do you know precisely in what way they are rigged?
Who is the
They-
best dad? Gets the most toys. We've already explained this.
Sadly not.
No, it's not that. It's who chooses the easier toy to catch, if anything. Peppa Pig is a very tough toy. It's very hard. It's a very heavy toy.
No, I
Very
think it's
bulbous.
common knowledge that they're set to a certain amount of money you put in, and then
Dave, you chose the Minion. I've looked online. Just look at the history on YouTube. It's the
It's
easiest
got
toy
nothing-
to get in all cranes across the UK. I've done
It's-
the research.
it's
I've
got
chosen
nothing to
Minion.
do
I'm
with
the
that.
best dad. Pathetic.
it's about when the machine's ready to pay out, it'll lock the claw.
Yeah,
But
it'll actually grab properly. The rest of the time, just doesn't
what was
bother.
Exactly.
what was
It
fucking
willing
hilarious?
Wasn't willing to pay out. Wasn't willing to pay out.
So what you do is you wait for someone else to spend loads of money, give up, and then you dive in, and then you.
Yeah, there was someone definitely standing behind Matt. Yeah, so that was good. We got up to loads of stuff. We went on the flumes, didn't we, Matt?
Yeah. When I mean, obviously it's a holiday for the kids, but when the wives and kids, we took them off somewhere else, and it was time for Dave and I to have some fun on the flumes.
Yeah, they said to us, we were in the water park bit, and we said, oh, we want to go on some flumes, and they said, well, tell you what, we'll take the kids away to get dried out, and we'll dried down, and then we'll see you outside. So you've got like 20 minutes or whatever to go down some water slides and stuff. And we were like, okay, yeah, sure. We were in there for an hour and a half at least. And one of my favourite moments was seeing Matt. They had one of those water slides where you go into a huge bowl with a hole at the bottom. And I was up at the top and I could look down into the bowl as he was like swinging around it. What I didn't know was the moment you enter the bowl, the whole thing lights up with disco music and like proper blaring. Everyone was looking over, just thinking, "What the fuck?" As Matt was being flung around this bowl, it was very funny. Also, another one of my favourite moments from the weekend was watching my son experience headphones for the first time.
Holy shit!
Like, you don't think about them now, do you? You
No.
just think headphones on, listen to music. First time he'd ever experienced headphones, blew his fucking mind. He kept taking them off and putting them back on again and going, what the fuck? I can hear music now, and when I remove this thing, I can't hear the music. But then when I put it back on, I can hear them again. Like, he was blown, like, it blew his mind. It was, it was amazing. So, yeah, it was good. You went to Centre Parks, though, right, Sean?
Did. It was all right. Played some Gang Beasts.
Is that any better? Because last time I
Gang
played
Beasts.
it, I really
It's
didn't
fucking
enjoy
wicked,
it.
man. I mean, why? When did you last play it? Are you not a fan?
I mean, it was fun, but it just seemed too random to be.
It
properly
still
enjoyable?
is. Yeah, like it's never gonna you won't see it at Evo anytime soon. It's not gonna be a tournament game. It is always just gonna be a stupid party game.
Yeah,
But I know I'm all right with that.
yeah,
Is
maybe
it-
we should
you
lighten
love-
up.
levels
Doing
of-
a VR version of that, right?
Yeah, I don't really see the point though, because all it is that you can it's not like first person or anything. You just control the camera with your head.
Hold on, they're genuinely doing a VR version of it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, a VR. Yeah, they're gonna pour VR into it or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt will just play anything in VR these days.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter.
Excited, but it's been quite a sad week really for video games, and maybe like I got a bit self-conscious about how much of a punch in the stomach it felt when I've read that Microsoft were discontinuing the Xbox 360. Because like I'm 31 years of age, that shit should not affect me as much as it did for that microsecond when I read the tweet. But I genuinely thought, oh, that's sad. Because that console was, for me, I mean, it was probably my favourite console of all time, which is a strong statement. But I suppose because I was there for day one, like when I moved up to Milton, I just moved up to Milton Keynes. We got a big payout from the company that relocated us, so money was no problem when the console was launched, and being there day one with all these games and all the pads and everything, just having everything there, it was like such a special moment, and the build up to it was like no other. I mean, it wasn't like the PS4 and Xbox One. There was no sort of arguments about whether it was going to be good or not. Everyone seemed genuinely blown away by the Xbox 360 from the moment it was announced. You know, it was an odd shape, It looked cool. The pad was just a huge step up from anything before. I remember going into Game Station and trying out one of those demo units.
Yeah,
and just thinking,
with Call of Duty 2.
yeah, and just thinking this
That was
controller
brilliant, Call of
feels
Duty 2.
insane. It was, yeah, man. And then when you look at the progression it made with like the new dashboards that kept coming out, the sort of Xbox Live being taken to the next level over Xbox One, party chat systems and stuff like that. That console did a hell of a lot. Anyone else have fond memories, or is it just me?
No, seriously, you're totally right, because it's definitely up there, probably as one of my favourites as well, because it's got such a massive library of games as well. Like there's so much on it, and I mean, I do remember the launch day, because I had that whole thing about whether I was actually going to be able to get one or not, because there was all supply constraints, and I wanted the 20 gig one, but then you got the dreaded phone call to say, "Oh, sorry, we've only got the ones without anything.
You've got the basic.
Do you still want it?" And it's that, but yeah, in the end, I got the 20 gig. But it's the only console I've ever got out of bed in the night time to go and get, because it was exciting, to just go and pick it up. And yeah, I mean, you remember that period, because it was people just jumped from game to game, everyone was on the same game, because there wasn't that much stuff on live. But then that was part of the fun with that, because it was kind of everyone had the same stuff. You could always get games with good people. It was, it was a really good period that time.
I don't remember any of the launch games being particularly amazing. PGR was amazing online. I mean, PGR was quite good, but we sort of settled with Bank Shot Billiards 2, didn't we, for a long time?
Well, you remember that? And there was also, that was when Live Arcade came out, and then everyone was saying, "Oh look, Gauntlet will come out. Gauntlet was amazing," and then we bought it, and it was awful. Yeah. It's aged very badly. But there was that, but yeah, there was. I mean, Perfect Dark Zero was not that great.
Yeah, it was awful online.
We played that for a while, and then I think, what was the first really big multiplayer?
That's what I'm trying to think now. That's exactly what I'm trying to think now.
Surely,
what was the first?
Surely it was Halo 3.
No, because wasn't that a year after release.
Possibly.
It was, yeah,
I mean, I was quite late. I only picked up a 360 when BioShock came out, so that was 2007.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I think Halo 3 came after I got a 360. So yeah, so there must have been something big prior to that.
I remember what it was. There was Ghost Recon. Advanced Warfighter. That came out.
Did we play that much? I don't remember us playing that much.
In the beginning, we played it a lot, because don't you remember it used to crash all the time because it couldn't cope with the amount of stuff that was on screen and all that at the same time. It was
I do not remember playing that for a long time.
Yeah, it was
weird.
Yeah. There was that, and there was also. But then when did Vegas come out? Rainbow Six? Was that after Halo? Because I don't think it was. I'm sure it was before.
I don't think it was after Halo. I think it was before Halo.
Must have been well before it. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Wow, we know nothing. But then when you think about it, the amount of games we got totally addicted to on Xbox Live, the Horde mode in Gears of War 2, and Left 4 Dead, when we were caning Left 4 Dead over and over and over again, and of course Modern Warfare. There was just such a huge amount of incredible games that just felt like such a cut above everything else that was on offer. I mean, the PS4 the PS3 was okay, but for online it just didn't match up with the Xbox 360, did it?
Yeah,
that's what's. Sorry, that's really what's kind of funny though, isn't it? Because also that was one of the other real strengths of the 360 was, okay, aside from the hardware with the Red Ring of Death, which is obviously a massive issue, the software was really solid, and so was Live at that time as well. It hardly ever went down. It was very, very reliable, most of the time, compared with what we got now, which is
But then you say that, you say that about the software, but then you can't talk about the 360's life without mentioning the Red Ring of Death that sort of churned out. I mean, I must have had in its lifespan, I probably had about 4 Xboxes in total, which I know is a relatively small number compared to a lot of people.
See, that's crazy, because I had one which got repaired once, and then the rest of the time it was fine. I mean, I've still got it somewhere, and it sounds like a jet engine. When you switch it on, you can't hear anything else in the room. The TV has to be on maximum volume, because otherwise you can't hear it. But it was still going. It was the launch one as well.
Did you not end up getting a Slim in the end?
I did, yeah, but then I sold it when I went back to China, because I was like, I don't really need this at the moment, so I sold it. Yeah.
Did anyone pick up the ones that looked exactly like the Xbox One? That was a weird one.
I've
never
actually
seen
got one of
in the
those as
wild
well.
at all. You've
I've got
one
actually. Yeah, I've got one. Yeah, but actually, I'm also trying to offload that at the moment because I don't really need it anymore. But yeah, I got one of those. It's not that different to the Slim though. It's really really similar. It's yeah.
I remember Matt being adamant that he was never going to buy one, and then we beat him down so much that he finally bought one really late on into its life. And I remember the first night of him coming on Xbox Live to play. Was it Gears of War?
Yeah.
I bought it before Halo 3, so it wasn't that late, but it was very late. Yeah. It felt late.
When? Sorry.
It was before Halo 3.
No way.
No way.
Okay, maybe it was Halo 4. I remember there's a Halo game I bought.
I'm pretty sure it was before Halo 4 rather than 3. But I remember you sitting down to play it for the first time and logging onto Xbox Live, and you instantly saying that night, "Oh right, this is why everyone says this is better than PS3." Like it wasn't necessarily like how good the games looked or anything like that, but it was the fact that we were all chatting over Xbox Live while I think you were in the marketplace buying chick slippers for your avatar.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I had to. Yeah,
got some bad news, lads. Gears of War was nearly a full year before Halo 3.
Oh, okay.
That's fine, isn't it? Why is that bad news?
Well, because you're all saying it's the other way around.
No, we said Rainbow Six, didn't we?
I thought you were talking about Gears of War.
No,
fucking hell.
No, because we didn't play much Gears of War online. Only in co-op really. With
it was
the
when
2-player missions.
It's when Horde mode comes out we started to play it because I remember playing the original Gears of War like online and it was okay, but then it got for some reason it seemed to attract really nasty people like playing it, and it was just not very nice to play. It was just like kind of horrible. So yeah, we didn't play it that much until the Horde mode comes out, which is better.
I'm trying to think of some of the other big games that were that sort of took over our life on that thing. I mean, Red Dead, obviously it was a multi-platform game, but that was just incredible. The amount of like fucking adventures I've been on that system, and it has to die. It has to die. They can't keep making them. But
it does. Don't
mark
you
the end
feel
of
though?
an era.
Can't they though? I feel like they could.
This is the thing. Don't
make
you
it a lot
feel
cheaper.
though that it feels a bit like they're trying to force people onto Xbox One, like by killing this now?
Yeah,
definitely.
The PS2 lasted a lot longer than the 360 has done. I'm sure. Like it's been around for a long time, and the 360 has never even gone below £100.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't believe they haven't done a $99 version, or even like a £99 version. But like one that's maybe like super small, like an Apple TV size.
Why would they want to do that?
There's so much they could do. Well, because a £99, that's still an impulse buy.
Yeah, it's like massive library of games. It might get people into Xbox again, for doing that, seeing as what's happened with the next generation. But
if you buy a slim, a tiny version of an Xbox 360 or whatever, then people are only going to buy second-hand games for it, and that's
exactly
why Microsoft couldn't give a shit. So,
what if you make it a download-only console?
That would work, yeah. Just don't give it a disc tray, so everyone has to go through Xbox Live.
Or make your Xbox One backwards compatible and get people to buy that. James. You're not thinking like a businessman here. You're thinking, like an idiot.
I am, because that's why I said like they've obviously done this on purpose because they're trying to force people onto Xbox One. Like that's clearly the plan. But the thing is like the Xbox One. Okay, it's not really really expensive, but it's still more expensive than like a 360 would have been. Do you see what I mean?
No, I don't see what you mean. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say here?
What I'm trying to say is there is a market for a cheaper machine.
But if they could get a percentage of that market to buy the new one anyway, then surely it'd be better.
Why then would Sony keep the PlayStation going for so long, like the PS2, for example? Why did they do that?
Well, if you recall, they actually took the PS2 emulation out of the PS3 because, well, their logic was that because it prevents you from buying inferior previous generation games. But actually what it was is that everyone was just buying second-hand copies of stuff and not buying PS3 games instead.
Also,
that's a bit like their logic with the what's called the first controller that they had for the PS3, the one without Rumble.
Yeah.
Because Rumble was so last generation.
Yeah, you're better off without it.
Better off without it.
Also, I could be wrong here, but I think that it was kept around for a long time because it could still be sold as like a really cheap DVD player. Yeah. So like people would go, actually, it's really cheap. Plus, I could put a few games on it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think it still had that market, whereas the Xbox 360 doesn't really. And I'm just guessing. All I'm saying is that this is a perfectly logical thing for Microsoft to do. It makes total sense. It's just a bit sad because I quite liked it. But let's face it, I was never going to buy another one. Like, that's it now. I'm done with it.
Shall I tell you what's a little bit annoying? Sorry, James, you go.
I was going to say, especially now that they've got the backwards compatibility, that's why I'm getting rid of my one, because I think actually there's enough games now that are backwards compatible that I really don't need to keep the old one anymore. That wasn't the point. So, it's good.
But so is the Walking Dead series backwards compatible? Because
no,
that's the thing that really annoys me. So obviously I play on 360 like many millions of other people, also like many millions of other people. I also then bought a PS4.
yeah,
I can't move my save because it's cross-platform. I get that, but I want to move to. I don't mind really buying it again if I can move my save. They've just announced today that season 3 is obviously coming. Very soon. I don't have to get my Xbox 360 out of the loft to play it, but I don't know what other options I've got. It's so annoying.
yeah.
Everyone's going to be in that situation, aren't they? Because I've got it on. I played it on 360, and the Xbox One isn't going to do that. Although they did give it away for free recently on Xbox One, the first series.
I don't even mind buying it again. I just want to be able to transfer my save, and if I've saved the first thing in the cloud, can't I transfer the save? I mean,
Yeah,
if anyone listening knows, please
Xbox
email
One,
or tweet us. I need to know.
It is stupid that the Xbox
It's
One
annoying.
version of that game does not use the saves that you've saved on your Xbox 360 version of that
It's
game.
ridiculous.
And I always said it should be one of those situations where it just throws up a code, like a number. It doesn't matter how long it is. Like, even if you have to write it down or whatever, it just throws up a code that equates to all the decisions you've made. And then you can type that into the next version of the game or whatever, like the next the console's version of the game or whatever. And then it just, calculates all your decisions you've made through that code. But
See, that's what I mean. Telltale had their whole Telltale accounts thing that they set up not so long ago because the Game of Thrones game had that.
Oh, yeah.
And you're thinking, why don't they just save your? Because you have to log in with a Telltale account. Why don't they save your decisions on that?
Yeah, and let you carry that over. That would make total sense because the information's there. So yeah.
There's not that many decisions. I mean, there's only about 10 per game or whatever.
So that
doesn't matter.
Just to point out, if you haven't already worked it out, James has completely plucked that from thin air. He has no idea how many decisions it is.
About 10.
I was struggling with what type of thing was it? Is it an episodic game or a game? Or, I don't know. It's
It's a game. Yeah.
It's an interactive video game experience, David. Sorry, computer game experience.
Speaking of dropping the 360 and pushing people onto new consoles, what do you guys make of all this 0.5 console business, the Xbox One and the PS4?
Yeah.
James, you were quite passionate about the PS4 announcing a 4.5, right?
Yeah, well, it just seems really strange, the whole thing, to be honest. I mean, it seems that it's definitely going to happen. Like, everyone's saying it's going to happen, and because, it's got, their codename Neo, so someone at Sony clearly has a hard
Sorry,
on
James,
for
I was
Matrix.
going to interrupt you. For the audience out there, see if you can detect the anti-Sony bias. Come on, James, carry on.
What the hell is that?
Well, now that you just told everyone there is one, they're going to be looking for it. So that's not entirely fair, is it?
I can just sense Sony.
No, because it's going to be the same for the Xbox One as well. Because I'm going to get to that. You'll see. I'm going to eviscerate everybody.
He's going to be really racist and then say, but I also don't like whites, so it's okay.
Come on, Sean's the one who supports the Super White Army.
It's true.
Come on, Trackmania.
So anyway,
James.
So it's codename Neo. So as I said, someone at Sony clearly has a hard on for the Matrix. Because they got the VR headset. That was the Morpheus, first of all.
That's a joke that he's thought of so hard this week that he had to say it twice to make sure it got out there. But carry on.
It's pretty good. I was quite proud of it, so I didn't want to let it go away.
No, I mean, it was all over Twitter the day it was announced, but crack on.
Yeah. Anyway, so the whole thing was it was supposed to be the PS4K, wasn't it? That was the initial sort of thing. But apparently it's 2.25 times more powerful than the current PS4, more memory, that kind of thing. But apparently it won't even display in-game 4K anyway.
Brilliant.
So what's the point of this? What's the point?
Well, I mean, I agree to some extent. I mean, I have no interest in buying one. I haven't got a 4K TV. I can't see myself getting a 4K TV in the near future. I think there's still the option of video playback in 4K, and they haven't confirmed what sort of Blu-ray drives in it, whether that will support 4K Blu-rays or whatever. But I don't know. I can see what you're saying. I can't see a decent argument to introduce this to the market, because they're still going to have to limit all of the new games that come out to be able to play with the PS4 as it is. Like, I can't see this. They're not going to unleash the full potential of a more powerful PS4. So what is it for?
See, apparently, I mean, there's like games are going to have to be developed using like a base mode and a Neo mode.
Yeah.
So you've got those two things going on. So you've got two. There's two. Okay. My Sony bias would be like, there's two potential problems with this. Like, one is that if development has to go into base mode, where's the incentive to go the extra mile for, like, making the Neo mode even better when maybe the install base is smaller? Like, we've seen this with, like, the 3DS, for example. You know, the new 3DS doesn't make much difference. But then also, you've got, the problem with that also is that if, the other concern is that if the base mode still exists, are games going to end up like Hyrule Warriors Legends? As in, they play on the original hardware, but it's awful.
I don't think that'd be the case, because the PlayStation base user base is so huge that I don't think that developers can ignore those people. Like, I don't know what the user base is for the 3DS. I'm sure it's still big. I'm sure it's still big.
I'm sure it's bigger than the PS4 at the moment.
You think?
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
No, it is, yeah. I'm just having a look. It's it's bigger than PS4's.
No, have they sold... See, there's a difference between active user base and units sold, isn't there?
Okay, so PS4 sales are at 35.9 million, and 3DS sales are at 57.94 million.
that is a lot bigger, isn't it?
Mm. And we've had how many new 3DS specific games? So you got Hyrule Warriors that does run on both but shouldn't, and then you've got Xenoblade Chronicles.
That's it. Yeah,
that's still a lot.
I think the only difference here is that Sony have specifically spelt out quite strict rules as to what the least they'll expect for the base units and how those games will run. You know, it's got to hit a certain frame rate and hold it for a certain percentage or something. I don't know. I'm not a technical guy, but from the stuff that I read, they are really going out to protect people that have bought the base model, which is fair enough. But then that brings James's question back into it. What's the point in bringing out a new one then? Because you're not gonna use that new console to its full potential, because it's gonna be held back by the old base model. And all of this just sounds like a massive ball ache to game testers, because I mean, I was listening to Giant Bomb talk about this stuff last week, and they made a few good points. The first being, games developers are going to have to test both versions of the game, right, on the two different hardwares. So they're going to have to treat it like two separate releases, and reviewers are going to have to test it on both units. So it's making their life more difficult as well. So, all right, okay, maybe that is just such a minor point. It's not really worth worrying about. I mean, it's certainly the consumers at consumer level, they won't be bothered. What they will be bothered about is if they've got a base unit, they put in a game and it runs like shit. Because console gamers, I know it happens, right? I'm not saying it's perfect, but they're not used to games properly running like shit. And the moment that starts happening, that's when people will start getting pissed off with it, I think. It's going to be interesting.
It's the same, because there's this whole thing like the Xbox One, maybe that's going to do the same thing as well. And I mean, the thing about that is I kind of feel the same as you. Like, I don't really care if they do this. Like, if they do this for Xbox One, it doesn't really bother me. The thing I care about with them is that they get the software right and get live to work, because that's the main problems on that platform, I think.
So why have you got more of an issue with PlayStation, Sony doing it than Microsoft?
I haven't. I haven't got any issue with it. I'm just saying. I haven't got a problem with them doing it. I'm just saying I don't see the point in them doing it. Like, I don't see what the benefit is here.
I mean, I can see a point for the manufacturers because they can suddenly have like a higher price console on the shelves. But for consumers, I'm not sure. I mean, this is obviously going the same sort of smartphone model where every year you would potentially upgrade to the latest, greatest, newest, best model.
But that works for smartphones because you're paying for it on a monthly contract. You're essentially financing it, whereas a games console, people don't tend to do that. So
And also, people have it in their minds that a smartphone will last 2 years.
yeah,
And then they'll upgrade. Whereas people going in buying a video games console are thinking, this is going to last me for 7-8 years or whatever.
yeah.
And then the next generation of consoles will come. And this stuff confuses it a little bit, I think. I don't know. I think these companies are wanting a little bit more money in the interim between the two consoles. Also, I might be mad, but it doesn't feel like the PlayStation 4 has been out that long. What is it, like 2.5 years?
Yeah, it's not that long.
That's more than that, surely.
No,
I don't
it's
think
around
so.
that. It was just before Eddie was born, yeah, so about 2.5. Yeah.
Okay.
It was like November 2013. Yeah.
So you just kind of think, right, they're looking to upgrade it already. But then I suppose, by the time it's out, 3 years, then you are looking at sort of halfway through its lifespan before people are already talking about the next console.
Mm.
Or was this like just an admission that it was underpowered in the beginning? Like both Xbox One and PS4 were kind of underpowered.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you mean by that.
Compared with PCs that were out at the same time.
Yeah, but isn't that the same with every console generation ever?
No.
I mean,
really.
PCs have always been the more powerful place
Mm.
to play video games.
It didn't used to be like that. Because during like the PlayStation, and like N64 era and all that kind of thing, it was definitely not like that. You bought a console because it was better. Like,
I
at that
don't
stage.
think that's true.
do
I
I.
think PC's always been well ahead of consoles. That was always
I don't know,
it's only the last few years, if anything, it's gone the other way.
I don't know because I think before like 3D accelerator cards came out, like PCs were not that good for a lot of games. Like compared, like if you think like back to like mid-90s, like that kind of time. If you bought a PC, you were looking at like a Pentium 2, Pentium 3,
Yeah.
around that time. And they were not, the kind of games they were running, they were obviously more advanced in some ways, but visually they weren't as impressive with what was coming out on
James,
consoles.
Yeah, but
Mate,
the equivalent, like the PlayStation ports of PC games were uniformly worse.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're also talking about 20 years ago now, James.
Yeah, no, I'm old, so,
What about when the mid-90s, when...
it's interesting
that
to
was
see
like
how
yesterday.
the way things swing though. Like sort of last generation, or last console generation, like most game development, especially because consoles started getting in on like distributing indie games as well. So consoles had a much bigger share, I think, of the market than they used to, and I think that sort of had an impact on how people made games as well. They made them for the consoles first, and then moved into the PC. Whereas prior to the 360 and the PS3, like most things were a lot of things were produced for the PC first, which was great because then that meant that like last generation you could get a decent gaming PC for like 400 quid, whereas previous 10 years ago it would have cost you like fucking like $1,000 if you wanted something that was going to play, latest stuff. Whereas now, like because loads of people have bought PCs again, like a lot of people, I seem to see a lot more people using PCs as their main thing again, which is interesting. And then you sort of look at like Steam, which now has big picture mode because they're also more aware that people are actually having these things in their living room now, or at least connected to their living room TV somehow. So it's like it's sort of swung back and forth over the last sort of 20 years. It's weird.
I still think they're very separate markets, to be honest with you, Sean. And I don't think people go into a like a console marketplace hoping to upgrade within the next 2 or 3 years.
Oh yeah,
I think
absolutely.
they want the convenience of resting on what they've got for a long time and knowing that the console they've got will still be able to play the latest games in 5 or 6 years' time.
Mm-hmm.
And the way this is going, I don't think you're going to have that sort of security, It's a shame.
No. I mean, historically, that is how it's always been. But this, clearly these guys, Sony and Microsoft, are trying to change that. So it will be more a smartphone sort of mentality where in the next 5 or so years, we won't be able to believe that we had a console for 8 years or for 5 years previously, because it will start to be the norm whereby every year or two there's like a new version, and you get the better version, you sold the old one to pay for the new one.
I hope not,
can see that
because I don't want to have to
totally.
pay £300 every few years to keep playing video games.
Because if
I
you
know,
do
but I
that,
can totally see it
you're just
happening.
Thinking, if they do that, then I would just be thinking I'd just buy a PC or whatever, because I'm sure it'd be like easier to do that. Than
But then if you had a PC, I would imagine every 2 to 3 years, if you wanted to play the best games, you would probably pay that on a graphics card,
yeah, that's true.
right? So
Not that. I mean,
don't-
new graphics card, you can spend like about 100, 150 and get something that's gonna run everything that comes out that year easily.
Oh, okay, cool.
Is
How
this-
much is
I
a
mean-
980?
Do I say?
How much is a 980 graphics card? That's widely regarded as the best one right now, right?
I have
How much is
absolutely
that?
no idea.
Dave?
That's what I mean.
No,
It's like
okay.
with the PCs, you don't. The way development is at the moment, like you can spend like 400 quid on a PC and it will run everything better than the current consoles will.
That's tempting.
So you don't have to spend a huge amount anymore. And especially like I say, now that you can get ones that actually look nice and don't have to be big fucking towers or whatever, like you can just get sort of small ones that won't completely embarrass you in the living room.
I know, but it's just I've said this before. I don't want to tweak with settings, Sean. I don't. I mean, look at the Dark Souls tweets floating about when that game come out. Okay, guys, so I've got it. If you're playing on PC, make sure that you unequip a shield before going near a bonfire. And I was just like, man, I can't fuck off.
But then you say that, but then I got the PC version of Dark Souls 3 because I heard there's fucking loads of frame rate issues with the Xbox One and PS4 versions.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as the first Dark Souls was, to be fair.
No.
But it does have the occasional moments. Right, we should really talk about what we've been playing this week. I mean, I've got a very short one, but it is something that I just wanted to give a nod to, really. We come across an old Sega Rally 2 machine, didn't we, Matt?
We did.
Now,
It was beautiful.
I didn't know how much of a fan of Sega Rally Matt was until we actually sat down and spoke about it before, because we'd seen it the day before. We said we'd play it, and then we had a chat about it, and it was like, oh yeah, okay, Matt is absolutely obsessed with Sega Rally. So anyway, we pumped a pound into this machine, and we played it, and I tell you what, other than like the graphics, the bad graphics didn't bother me. The only thing that bothered me was the resolution. Like, I found it hard to see too far ahead on the track, which is strange because we're so used to high definition and long draw distances and stuff. Everything else, man, felt like it hadn't aged a single day, and that game could come out again as it was with a new resolution, higher def or whatever, and it would still be just as enjoyable. We managed to get 7 laps in because it worked differently then, didn't it? Because it didn't try and just boot you out like with after like 3 minutes of play. I mean, we had a good 15 minutes on that machine, and the racing was just so enjoyable. Like, it was so good, and it bothers me that Sega have again, we say shit like this all the time, but this just blows my mind. If Sega were to say, okay, Sega Rally 1 and 2, just with new graphics, same handling, same amount of cars, same tracks, just with new graphics, here it is for like 20 quid. You'd buy it, wouldn't you? Like online time attack and stuff like that.
Did you play the version of Sega Rally they did for the 360 and PS3, I think? It was in Sumo Digital did it. Like 2009, maybe?
I remember owning it, and I remember being disappointed by it.
Okay.
But it was also in a period of my life where I was disappointed by everything. So, I mean, I watched Jackie Brown in that period of my life and hated it. I recently watched Jackie Brown and hate that period of my life now more than anything else. I'm like, I could have liked this for a long time, but instead I was just a moody little prick. So yeah, I don't know if that game was legitimately bad or not, but I remember not enjoying it.
Yeah, just having a look. It was 2007 that was, and then they did apparently there's an online arcade version of Sega Rally.
I need to know
the
whether that
original
Sega Rally is backwards compatible. I need to play that now.
Yeah.
The original Sega Rally wasn't on Xbox Live, was it?
According to
No,
this,
no,
it was.
no.
I don't know if it's exactly the same.
Yeah, it was, but I
No
don't think it's backwards
way.
compatible because
No-
they got like problems
not-
with the licensing. or
Not
something.
Sega Rally 1. You're talking about the reboot, which is just called Sega Rally. But
No.
the
That's
original Sega
the
Rally.
2007 one. Then after that, there was a Xbox Live Arcade version.
But it wasn't of the original Sega Rally, surely.
Yeah, I think it
might
was.
have
I
I
think
been.
it
seem
was.
to remember it.
I do not believe that. No. I'll tell you the qualifying factor here. I put a tweet up about it, and Leon Cox of Kane and fucking Rinse, no less, turned around and said, no, they've never done it.
Okay.
So you're wrong, Sean, because I trust.
I'm just saying what's
Leon
on
Cox with
fucking-
my
Oh,
life.
here we go. Right, okay. The online arcade one was a version of Sega Rally 3. It's also been delisted, I think.
Bloody
So
Trackmania
fucking
fans.
Whatever, man. What a write-off.
Sega Rally. Yeah, I
Anyway,
mean,
yeah. Sega Rally is incredible. It was still incredible to play in the arcade. Like from the moment we turned it on, I knew like the first corner. It's just the first game is still one of my favorite racing games of all time. You know, just had like 3 tracks, 4 cars, or 4 tracks, 3 cars. It's just beautiful. I told us today, but there was a cheat code or something on the original Sega Rally on Saturn where you could actually race AM2, the developers, and me and my mate Pete played it so much we could actually beat the ghost of AM2. You know, we actually came that game so much, and like it was obviously on the seafront in the arcades, like you know, near where I used to live, and we always had like really sort of ferocious close races on that game, and playing the game with Dave. Obviously, this is Sega Rally 2 in the arcade, but yeah, it's the arcade handling is just so fun. It's just such a class game.
I still
And,
remember
I had
the
a
drifting feels perfect, and you have to hit brake at the right time. Like, I'd forgotten that you had to brake in those games, and you couldn't just rely on just trying to swing it round the corner. Like you had to ride it a little bit more than you do in most modern drifting games. But yeah, I mean, who could forget the little hump with the little splash of water in between another little hump? I mean, that bit was enough to just, all right, that wasn't in Sega Rally 2, but it just took back all those memories of me and my brother sitting there with a Sega Saturn just playing those courses over and over and over again, shaving milliseconds off each other's times. It's so good.
Oh mate, listen to this. The marketing campaign. God, this was for the reboot in 2007.
Yeah.
Marketing campaign included a series of 3 short comedy films that revolve around the antics of 2 Valley girls as a racing partnership, titled Tonya and Donya, blah, 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 blah. Each of the films ends with the strapline, "Drive like a man."
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Couldn't get away with that
happened
in
in
2016.
2016.
Another time. Yeah, actually, fuck Sega Rally. It's awful and sexist. Well done, Matt.
Oh, I still love it.
All I'm saying, this
I
whole
need to play that
section
game again.
was
And
about
I need to find a way to have Sega Rally on current consoles.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to get an old one out.
this
Oh,
this
God,
whole
it's so good.
this whole section of the show is basically saying, Sega, if you're listening, just bring it out, will you? I mean, are they still about Sega these days?
Yeah, they're
Not,
making
are they?
pachinko machines, aren't they?
Yeah, it's mostly
Sega Sammy.
Just take a break from those pachinko machines. Just bring out Sega Rally, just with better graphics. Fine. Oh
I mean,
my god.
I was a huge Sega fanboy. I mean, as we've discussed briefly on this show, I didn't have like a NES or SNES. I was pure Master System, Mega Drive, and then Saturn, and then Dreamcast, and yeah, I was absolutely devastated when Sega left the hardware business, and I guess now seemingly the software business to a lesser extent. And it was always my dream that one day I'd like pick up a gaming magazine, again showing my age, but picking up a gaming magazine, it'll say like Sega are back, and and they released like a new console at E3, and all the old classics are back, like Daytona.
What a
and
sweet
Sega
dream
Rally.
that is. Like, what a sweet dream.
Oh, I miss Sega so much. I loved the official Sega magazine, Mean Machine Sega, Saturn magazine. Oh, like I still remember people like Steve Key and other sort of journalists around that time that were writing in these Sega magazines I absolutely loved. Oh God, I miss Sega so badly and Sega Rally.
Jesus
Oh, my
Christ.
God. I could
Okay.
cry. It's so
This is
good.
getting weird. I mean,
Sega Rally too.
I have dreams of like winning a lottery and spending all the money on just like, just weird shit. And you just want to pick up a magazine and see Sega's back. It's quite sweet, really.
But I've got that dream. My other dream is that I wake up in the morning, again, pick up a paper. I don't know what sort of Matt Murray this is. It clearly isn't the real one, but pick up a paper, and it's got like a picture of like some UFO or alien on the front. Again, I'm a very weird man. But I just like the idea of waking up and looking at Twitter, and I was like, oh my fucking God, have you seen what's happening in America? And like, anyway, I probably shouldn't admit it on the podcast. But
No, it's pretty
Sega
weird.
Rally 2, everyone.
James, what you been playing?
Okay, I've been playing something a bit different. I've been playing Beat Sports.
I wanted
What
to get
is
this, but it was way too expensive.
What is it?
It's okay. So Beat Sports is for Apple TV, like as in it's the TV that has
The motion
apps,
control thing.
etc.
Their Wii Sports rip-off thing.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it looks like Wii Sports. Wii Sports. It looks,
Matt Murray.
Looks like waste bats.
It looks like Wii Sports, but it isn't. Unfortunately, it's instead. I mean, what it is do you know anything about it at all, Dave? Like
No.
apart from the fact it looks like Wii Sports.
No, I mean, it uses that motion control that comes with the new one, right?
Yeah, and it's got it's developed by Harmonix. So
All right.
Oh, wow, I did not know that.
yeah, it's a Harmonix game. So basically, it is a rhythm game. So
What?
actually, the sports angle is really misleading because the core gameplay is actually is based around waggling the controller in time to music. Yeah, that's kind of what it is actually about. It's sports, really nothing to do with that at all. It's mostly focusing on the rhythm, and it's a shame because it does seem to have been forgotten by everybody. Because I mean, like Matt, you said it's too expensive, yeah.
Well, how much is it now? When I first got my Apple TV on launch, the Apple TV 4th gen, it looked great, but I think it was like £8, and I wasn't really willing to
Yeah.
pay that.
That's the thing. It's like £7.99, which is £8.
If that was like
which,
£4, I'd probably get it, but not 8.
yeah, and that's the problem because although the music is pretty good actually, like the music's really good, Harmonix game, and also they got some other developer from Japan as well to like do some tracks, and it sounds really good, and it feels really good as well to play. Like it is like the rhythm side of it is as good as you'd imagine from a Harmonix game, but the trouble is though is it is really really limited, especially for the price. Like you think $7.99, okay, that's not a lot compared with like Xbox games or whatever, but it's still for an iOS or like Apple TV game is quite a lot compared with everything else out there. But there's only like 3 game types, and these are then just repeated with different difficulties and different backgrounds, and that's it. And also, I mean, the 3 game types are not really that different either. I mean, it's mostly just waggling in time to the music, or like flicking the screen in time to the music, which is kind of a shame. But one of the good things about it though is it has got the multiplayer is quite good, because you can add other people using their phones to control the game. So they just download like an app, and then they can like join in as well. But again, this is also limited because there's only one, as far as I can tell so far, there's only one multiplayer game mode, and although it's fun, it's just really short, and it's just kind of a shame because it could have been a lot more if they'd have maybe put some more into it. I think it's not worth £8, but it's still.
How many players can you play with phones and controllers and stuff?
4. You can play up to 4 players, which is not bad. I mean, the idea of using like your iPhone for it is quite good because then you. Admittedly, when I saw like multiplayer, I was like, oh, I've only got one controller. What am I? I'm not buying any more. To play something like this. Then it's like download the app, and I was like, okay, that's not a bad idea, and it works still quite well because it's still exactly the same as using the remote. So, but yeah.
Have you thought about getting an actual controller for your Apple TV?
No, because there's no games. There's not.
There's loads of games that support a controller.
Yeah, but loads of games. There's hardly any games. Like it's like there's Rayman. Like there's like Rayman Adventures, which is.
There's Badland. I've got that. There's Commute. Oh God, what's it called? You've got
that does not commute.
No, it does not commute. That's a good game, man.
Yeah,
it is
I love
a good
that.
game. Yeah,
Class.
But I mean, a lot of the games that are on there, they're all games which are on iOS already, which I've already played mostly. And although, admittedly, they are much nicer, like on the Apple TV, like it is really nice to play. Like is it like Alto's Adventure? Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good with a pad.
Yeah. Even just with the controller, it's still really nice. Like with the remote, is really nice. It's like really relaxing. To play, it looks really amazing. but there still isn't that much there. I mean, that's the big problem. And also, what there is pretty expensive, like compared with on iOS. I mean, that's why I quite like the way that some of the developers are clearly like they allow, if you've already bought it on iOS, you can just download it again on here like for free, which is kind of nice. So that's why I ended up with a load of games I already had. But but there's not a lot there at the moment. That's the big problem. Even though it seems to be, I wouldn't say it seems to be really powerful, but it seems to be certainly capable of much more.
Yeah, definitely.
But,
and I had hoped, that some developer would decide to focus on Apple TV and create an experience designed exactly for this platform, and it's really amazing, and it would be sort of maybe like the Halo or the Mario 64, whatever's of Apple TV, and everyone buys it and loves it. But that hasn't really happened yet. There hasn't been really been a developer that's really taken it upon themselves to develop an experience.
As James and I said at the
platform.
time, the biggest mistake they did was not bring out a proper pad with it. I think genuinely there could have been all of the indie games that you see cropping up on Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam and stuff. You get those sort of games on Apple TV. I think it could have been a huge success for that sort of gaming. Yeah. Instead, what we've got
definitely
is
agree.
this stupid little Wiimote thing that doesn't work as well, and no one wants to develop for.
I mean, the remote is nice. It's not a bad remote, I don't think, but it's just a shame because it is the store is really sparse. There's not a lot there. I mean, I'd imagine that the Yuya's probably got about the same amount of games available for it because it's.
At least Yuya's got Towerfall.
Yeah, it's because there's really not that much there. It's a shame. I mean, WWDC's coming up where we're going to see a refresh, some more stuff, but. It's just a shame because it just feels there's so much potential there. And,
well, we've said it for years, haven't we? Bring out an Apple TV with a pad bundled in, like as standard, and people will download games and use them with it. It just will. It would happen because there'll be £2 or £3 games that will keep kids happy, and if they've got good enough games, then everyone will play them. It's just such a no-brainer in my head. I don't understand why they haven't done it. Other than them not caring about the gaming market at all.
That's the other thing that's strange as well, because there's not even those crappy iPhone games for kids on there. Because I was looking on there to see if there's anything my daughter would want to play, and there really isn't. It's just a shame. It's But I really think it is mostly down to the fact that Apple just don't understand gaming and don't care about it really. I mean, I maintain to this day that the only reason it was a success on iPhone was by mistake. But I don't think it's because they've tried particularly hard for it to be like that. It's just that they were out, first with a lot of stuff.
I just think that the company likes money, and this would be a clear money winner for them. Do you know what I mean? I can't see what the downside is, other than paying out for a design of a controller, which is not exactly going to be a hard thing to do. I can't see where the downside is for Apple, but. There you go. We've been saying it for years. They don't listen. They've got to start listening to their own podcasts that they're putting out there. Do you know what I mean? On iTunes, yeah? The computer game show. Just look at the top of the charts somewhere right there. Sean, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Earth Defense Force 4.1 because it's currently £20 on the PlayStation Store. So
was it for PS4?
Yeah, this is basically a slightly jazzed up version of Earth Defense Force 2025 that came out a few years back. Now, I've always defended the fact that the Earth Defense Force games, for those who don't know, they are third-person shooters where there are giant insects attacking a city, and you have to shoot them with ridiculous weaponry. And they've got a genuine sense of humor about how on the surface of it they're quite shit. But actually, once you really get you can just treat it as an idiotic, just keep firing at all the ants and watch them explode, sort of thing. But if you want to play it at the harder difficulties, it does actually get quite strategic and actually proper good fun. But they are quite low budget, and they've always suffered from poor frame rates, especially when you've got literally hundreds of ants charging at you. And Earth Defense Force 2025 was very good, but did suffer really, really badly from the frame rate issues. Previously, the frame rate would drop. You'd be like, yeah, well, there's fucking loads going on, and it's just fun anyway, so I don't really care. But in 2025, it was unplayable at points. So this is pretty much the same game, but just on hardware that's actually capable of running it. and it's fucking so much fun, man. There's like in previous Defense Force games, there's either just been the one class you can play as, which is just guy with gun, or in some of them they added this other character called the Wing Diver, which is like this woman with a jetpack who can fly around and shoot things with lasers. This one also adds there's one called the Fencer, which is like a heavily armored dude who controls a bit like a Dark Souls character. It's really weird. And there's also this character called the Air Raider, which is like he's pretty like he's intended as a support character. Like he just like he doesn't really have much in the way of guns, but you can call in vehicles and airstrikes, and they are fucking hilarious. Like you start out by first you just have like a tank that you can call in, which is pretty good, but like later on you start getting like troop transports and mechs and stuff. And it becomes like if you imagine like Titanfall was a bit worse, but it had a mode where like hundreds of giant ants and spiders come at you. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
and calling in airstrikes and stuff is just ridiculous. Like, I mean, I'll have to stream some of it at some point because
Yeah, definitely get. I think it's one of those games. I mean, certainly the one on the PS4 slipped by without anyone noticing.
well, they released it at fucking £50, which was suicide. Like, I was like furious when they said they were going to release it at full price because it's like, for God's sake, if you just release something like that cheap, like people will just take a punt on it and they'll really enjoy it and they'll tell everyone else. So yeah, I mean, like I say, it's currently £20 in some like spring sale or whatever. I can't recommend it enough. I mean, you can play it split screen if you really want, but it has got full online play, which is amazing, especially if you get a team where it's like everyone's playing different classes and working alongside each other and stuff. It's incredible. £20.
These games are notorious for being shit performers in terms of frame rate and stuff, aren't they?
Yes.
So how's this work on the PS4?
It's been fine. It's not perfect. Like it does slip a bit, but it's slipping from 60 rather than from 20 to begin with, you know, like it's like at no point has the game actually felt like it's slowed down. It's just like a tiny bit choppy sometimes. So yeah,
cool.
well worth it, man.
It's weird. I've never been interested in that series really. I've never seen the appeal. Every time I've seen people playing it, it's just they're kind of just shooting at things, and there seems to be no real progression. Is that right? Is it one of those games that you just play for fun, or is there some sort of point or end goal?
I mean, your end goal is just doing all the missions. They do vary quite a bit, though. Like I say, you start off, there's giant ants, then there's giant spiders, then there's giant spiders and ants, and then there's flying stuff, and then there's robots, and then there's other weird shit going on. And yeah, it gets really smart. And like I say, especially when you if you've got an air raider on your team who's like able to call in vehicles and stuff and like laser guided orbital strikes and stuff, it's just fucking hilarious. Like the joke is it's got a proper sort of B movie tone to it. So like all the voice acting's fucking atrocious, but it's intentionally so. Like all the actors are obviously just having a good laugh doing it. And basically at the end of most levels, like you've basically flattened the entire city, and everyone's just like, "Yeah, we killed all the ants. Well done." I fucking love it. It's proper good.
Well, so you say it's £20 now on sale. How much is it going to be when it's not on sale?
Well, like I say, they released it like full price. It was like 45-50 quid, which is a joke. Like I wouldn't expect anyone, like just because of the way it looks and stuff, I wouldn't expect anyone to go in on it full price.
Right. So I thought you were referring to the old ones when released for £50. I didn't realise that this one also was.
Yeah. This one's
wow,
the full whack. Yeah, I mean, like the one they released on the Xbox 360 was the one where a lot of people first got into Earth Defense Force 2017, and that was like 25 quid, 20 quid, like straight away. And that was why a lot of people were like, the fuck is this? And picked it up and ended up having a really good time with it. Hopefully
that just screams that we've got our fans. You know,
well, exactly,
we're
yeah.
not going to sell any more than what
now.
we're expected to sell, but we can ask for more money for it and still get it.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that was the route they took with that one.
I think you're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah. Weird. Okay, Matt, you've got a few games you want to rattle off.
Yeah, I won't be long about this. A few quick ones really. But so again on our holiday, Dave and I were together and we played some Trackmania.
Yes.
Now, this is a game I've obviously heard about for years. I've never played. Obviously, watch your streams, Dave and Sean. And it's absolutely fantastic. I absolutely loved it. We were playing. Well, what was the name of the mode? Is it Hot Seat, Dave?
Hot seat. I had no idea how well this would go down. Like I bought FIFA and Pro Evo because I thought, well, we're going to be playing football games over the weekend, surely, having little tournaments or whatever. Once Trackmania went on, that's all we played for the rest of the holiday. And I mean, do you want to explain what hot seat mode is, Matt?
So in hot seat mode, you each it's a pass the pad, take turns mode whereby you on a track, one of you sets a time, the other one has to beat it. And you know, so one person keeps playing until they beat that time, and the other person goes back and then sets a better time.
Okay.
But you each have like a limited amount of gas, so you can't keep going forever. After a few goes, basically, if you haven't beaten it, then then basically it's
technically
it's the end of the
you
game.
can keep going forever because once you run out of gas, all that's doing is telling you this is your last attempt. So if all of a sudden your petrol tank goes empty, that means if you don't make it to the finish line faster than your opponent's already set, then you're out. But if you do make it, then the other person's got to beat that time, and then you still get another go to try and beat the time that's beating you. So technically it can go on forever as long as you keep beating each other's time.
Yeah,
But-
because that did happen to us once, didn't it? I'm sure there's one where we did keep going back and forth for a couple of goes.
We went back and forth a few times when we were both empty on petrol. Yeah. But the idea is that obviously you can't reset once you're in that mode because this is your last attempt type thing. So it is really like now or never. And
that's
the
really
sweats
smart.
I was getting certain.
It was so tense. When you know, if Dave set like an awesome time, and I was like, hang on, I know I've got about 4, maximum 5 goes left. You know, if that. Yeah, it's and some, you know, obviously there were fairly easy tracks, and then there were really, really complicated tracks. Sometimes you don't even know where you're going. It's just a case of seeing how far you can get, or even just getting to the end, let alone setting a good time when you're there.
I preferred the more simple tracks though, because
I did. Yeah.
On the second to last night, we had a competition, and it was first to 10. That was it, and we thought, well, you know, we'll keep it short. We'll get an early night in or whatever, and we got to 9 all. And basically, Matt had home tracks and I had home tracks. I was better at the sort of drifting cars that looked like more like touring cars. Matt was better on the F1 cars. I don't know why. It's just the way it worked out. So it really felt like a game of tennis where Matt was serving, and if I broke his serve, it was like a huge deal. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, I'm ahead. You know.
Yeah. If they've got a great time on an F1 track, I was like, oh shit, that was like the one I should have won. And then I mean it different like tennis, because we were saying, oh my god, I beat Dave one of his tracks, and it felt like if I now win on my track, which should be a given because I'm better on those ones, it'd be 2-0, and the game is just so tense, so exciting, so fun. And obviously we've talked about Sega Rally earlier on. Like the initial sort of few goes, it felt like a Sega game, and maybe because I was playing the touring car sort of cars in the game, but
Canyon ones.
I mean, but the handling is just it's pinpoint. It's just absolutely class. You know, it's just a fantastic game, and like I haven't played Pass the Pad multiplayer. I haven't had that much fun since Towerfall. Like, I honestly think if you get two people like very similar in terms of sort of
skill.
In terms of player skill,
Yeah,
it's fantastic. I mean, how many could we have? Like up to 4 players doing that Pass the Pad thing, Dave?
8, I think.
Oh god, that would be amazing. If 8 of you together in a room doing that.
8 players if you're doing solo racing, and you can play up to 16 if you're doing they do the 2-car mode, the 2-driver mode. So the
Where
way
you
that
share
works
controls
is that,
and accelerating.
yeah, you share the controls, and it works out the average between what the 2 players are doing and goes with that. So that sounds like that would be amazing. Like if you got 16 people in a room to do that and you partner up and stuff, I expect some big arguments between couples and stuff. But no, I mean just an 8-player mode of that would just be incredible. Like
it sounds really smart as well. Like I assumed it was just like, right, you have a go, and then someone else has a go, and then you have a go again. Like literally just one attempt each, and then you pass it on. Which I always thought wouldn't work, and it's like, well, yeah, no, that's why they've done something much smarter. So,
yeah, and it could be smart. I mean, if it was a full price game, I would have asked for more from it. Like, I would like to be able to adjust how much petrol you've got in your tank, or like for it to keep score. When you go from race to race, to have like a random pick mode. Like, it's got this really weird thing where you can select it so that it automatically generates a completely random course, but the algorithms are so fucked that it's a mess of a course and makes no sense. So it's absolutely pointless in doing it. So you have to kind of individually pick courses, which isn't ideal. I would have much preferred random, but there you go.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of things they can do to fix it. I would love to, but you see, you press a button and it chooses like 16 tracks for you, and they're like the ones you go along, or you can set a playlist maybe. And yes, I wanted to keep score, and there's lots of things that it doesn't do, which it could do to be a lot better. But yeah, if anyone's got Trackmania Turbo on PS4, and I guess is it Xbox One as well?
I think it's on Xbox One. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you got like some mates around, I urge you to play this because it's absolutely amazing. I had such a blast playing it.
It blew me away actually, because I genuinely thought it'd be something we'd play for a bit and then move on, but we just could not stop playing. Yeah, it was so much fun.
That was the one game and the only game we played on that PS4 all week, or for the whole week. Yeah. But every week, basically, our wives, obviously children in bed earlier, wives in bed at 10. Me and Dave played till like 12:30 every night. It was brilliant.
Until the last night where I just wanted to go to sleep, or the second night where I got so hammered that I couldn't even focus on the screen anymore.
Good times.
That's my excuse.
Cool. I've also been playing Uncharted 2. I've also been doing my streaming challenge. I'm about a third of the way through Uncharted 2 now. I've obviously been away on holiday and I was busy. I was away at the weekend, so I'm going to crack on some more this week to hopefully get Uncharted 2 finished before the next episode. Uncharted 2 so far is good. I mean, graphically it looks a lot better. Art-wise, it's great. I must say, I think I said this on stream, but I feel like it because it's much more all over the place. As a story, it doesn't feel as okay. It feels slicker, but I'm not following the story as well. I know it's like a fairly simple story, but the other one was just like you're just in the jungle basically for ages, and then the mutants turned up. I would probably much more all over the place.
At the end of your stream, what I would probably do is just read up the plot on on Wikipedia as you're playing. No, genuinely, because I think because you're streaming, you're talking over most of the cutscenes and stuff. You're not. No,
I'm trying not to now. I'm definitely trying to take much more of an interest in the cutscenes, but it's good. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm really eager to get back on the stream this week. So Uncharted 2. I'm definitely looking forward to getting through that. And I think we're only 2 weeks away from Uncharted 4 now, so I'd better get my arse in gear really.
Yeah, get your boots on, son.
Yeah, that's what Uncharted 2. Another game we're playing loads is Clash Royale. I know it's been mentioned on every podcast ever, and obviously you mentioned it on Midnight Resistance last week, Sean. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. I'm so close to putting money into it. Have you put any money into it, Sean?
I haven't yet. But that's because I'm intentionally sort of distancing. Like I had to turn all the notifications off because I knew if they stayed on, I would end up paying money. So now it's just I dip in when I've got time for it, and not because it's asking me to. If you know what I mean. And that seems to work. That seems to have prevented me from spending money. So
yeah, all I need is 10,000 gems or whatever, or 10,000 gold. But it's a class game. I'm absolutely loving it. I mean, the actual core gameplay is brilliant. I mean, all the whole, it very much urging you, or you can't really. There's not a lot of progression if you've got all your chests, all 4 chests already available, and you can't unlock them for 24 hours or whatever. Yeah. So that's a bit annoying, but the actual core gameplay is still really fun.
See, I downloaded it and started playing a bit, and I don't know, it didn't really grab me. And as soon as I saw all that, opening chests and having to have gems and stuff, and you can buy them for money, I was like,
you can buy them, but you can play for a fair bit without needing it. I mean, I don't need it now. I just sort of want to see more and do more and get more cards and progress and stuff, but you don't need to. It's just a class game. I think it's really fun.
But it's competitive, yeah. So you're playing against real people. So isn't there a concern though, that when you're playing it, you're going to get beaten because people have spent more money than you? There's
a question about that coming up later, isn't there? But we'll address it now. Who sent in the question, James?
Let me have a look. That was that was from Athena. Yeah, Athena. This is the same question. It's isn't Clash Royale infuriating when you lose a bunch of times because of people who paid loads of money?
I've not found that, or at least it's not felt like that's why I've lost. If that makes sense.
It doesn't feel obvious that's the reason.
Yeah, I've certainly lost my fair share of games, but not It's never been like, oh, well, he's just pulling out shit I've never seen before. Like, that used to happen to me a lot in Hearthstone. Whereas this, it just feels like, oh, well, he's probably just better than me. Like, you can get by just leveling up your shit common cards, basically. Which is just as worthwhile as having super rare ones. So that's fine, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. It's a really slick app. Like, I mean, so obviously, you can collect cards and stuff, but I love the fact that on the last tab you can basically watch other replays of matches.
Yeah.
It's super quick. I love that. I'm watching loads of them replays as well as playing my own, and I'm seeing how people are using different decks and what characters they're using, and I'm always switching over to the final tab to say, okay, well, a common card is like the Spear Goblins or it's like the Fireball or whatever, and I want to make sure those are in my deck. I love the fact it's so slick for that, and and games are 2-3 minutes, whatever they are. They're really quick.
It's really
haven't had any problems with lag. It's really. Actually, I wanted to ask you about Hearthstone. Is there a similarity at all to this? I'm sure I saw some tweets and someone mentioned Hearthstone, and some of them I wasn't sure if there's a direct comparison. I've got Hearthstone. In fact, I've just installed it on my phone tonight. And but I wanted to know, is this comparable in any way to Hearthstone?
Sort of. I mean, Hearthstone is like a turn-based card game rather than like this is very much real time. I suppose the appeal is similar in that it's all about like watching what your opponent's doing and sort of like obviously in Hearthstone you build your decks and try and sort of put strategies in them, but then it also depends on what you draw at any given time and how you can sort of like the look of the draw, how that allows you to actually put your strategies into play and stuff, whilst also reacting to whatever the other guy's doing. So yeah, I guess there is quite a bit of crossover there, but they do play quite differently. And like I say, Hearthstone is turn-based, and matches last a lot longer in Hearthstone as well. It's not as convenient.
Yeah, I mean, the fact there's like games that 2 to 3 minutes is one of the best things about it. I've also never played Clash of Clans. I mean, that's also a different game type, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one of these ones where like you build a base and people can try and invade it, but then you would try and invade theirs and stuff. I seem to like that was one of the ones that I tried and was just like, man, I wish this didn't fucking annoy me with all the free to play stuff, because like apparently Clash of Clans is perfectly enjoyable. But I usually have trouble seeing through the free to play stuff.
I think it's from what I read, it's another one of those ones where it's like you can get so far without having to pay money, but then it becomes clear that you need to spend money. You like to sort of like stay in the game, as it were.
Yeah. I don't think that's the case with Clash Royale. I think you could, as Sean said, I think you could just keep leveling up, your sort of basic cards, and I think you'll have fun. I mean, the core gameplay is just fun regardless, I think, and I want to put money in just because I sort of want a better card or more cards or not having to wait and stuff. But I could also happily, and I may well happily just live without paying any money. Yeah. Depends how drunk I get one night and if I want to suddenly
don't do what you did with that. Don't do what you did with that claw machine. Yeah, just like that, piling it in.
That's the thing. I wish I put 11 quid into this game, not that bloody claw machine.
Yeah,
I had like a £6 Peppa Pig toy anyway. It didn't matter. I should have just gone straight to Amazon and bought that instead of pissing around with the clay machine.
I'm sure I heard somewhere that somebody had spent like 15 grand on Clash Royale, and that they're like top of the league, and that's why. Because they just.
I'm sure you could do that, but then if you're willing to spend 15 grand on a game like this, then you've got bigger problems. So,
or you're rich.
Or that.
Yeah. You have no problems.
That's a good point.
Cool.
Right.
I also wanted to briefly talk about Mirror's Edge. I haven't played the beta that much, but it is on this week, the open beta of Mirror's Edge Catalyst, and I played like 5 to 10 minutes or so, and it's just fun, like straight away, like just jumping across rooftops. But I haven't really played it enough to give it a really good opinion. But have any of you guys played it? Well, the first one was an interesting one. So you guys probably don't remember, but there used to be a podcast called Joypod, and
sounds
it
shit.
was like a game. Yeah, it sounds gash, but there was a game club where basically you guys obviously suggest everyone plays Mirror's Edge. I did that.
This game club.
I started playing that. I thought I'll get the achievement where you don't shoot anyone, but basically I sort of didn't start really focusing on that until maybe the second or third level, and I went from second or third level all the way to the end, and I realised I must have shot someone in the first level, which is fucking annoying. So I basically played like 99% of that game without shooting anyone, and it was quite hard, but I quite enjoyed it. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the cutscenes, and the combat wasn't great, but it had loads of potential, and from the little I've played of this, I feel like they've tried to refine a lot of the combat. They've made it less about gunplay, more about melee combat and throwing guys off roofs, and they get throwing enemies into each other and whatnot. Graphically, I think it looks great. So I'm definitely eager to play a bit more of the beta and see where it goes.
Yeah.
What's this on? Is this on PS4 or?
I'm playing Xbox One. It was a sign up a while ago, and you can play on it. I presume PC as well, but I'm playing Xbox One. It's almost certainly PS4 and PC.
I wish I'd known about that because I was the only one of the people that played it that actually enjoyed Mirror's Edge. I thought it was great.
I think it's out in June, so it's not too far away.
That was not a very good video game. I don't understand the love for it, to be honest with you.
It's the best first hour of a video game ever, and then shame about the rest.
I'm not even with you there.
Okay, fair enough.
Sorry. I just think people liked it because it was different. That was
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Okay. Should we do some questions, James? Because I feel that I need some paracetamol right about now.
Okay. Well, shall I read them then? You can do that.
Thanks.
No
man.
emails this week. Yeah, I thought you'd appreciate it. No emails this week, which is a shame.
PR companies get involved. Computer game at Gmail. Yeah.
No.
Is that right?
Yeah. The computer game show at gmail.com. Get your emails in now.
That's the one. Free games and stuff.
Or not. Just tweet us.
Send us to Paris. We ain't going to dob you in. Like, we're not going to be like, oh no, isn't it outrageous that they gave us a free gift? We'll just take the free gifts and say thanks, and then give you a decent review. Fuck it, I don't care anymore.
Give me kit.
Post game.
You think he's joking as well, but he's
no, I
not.
know he isn't. It does almost like when you're far enough removed from that stuff and you reach a certain age, it's like, do you know what, the holiday would be nice.
Yeah,
It would be really funny because everyone's
Paris and show me a new game.
Yeah, everyone's so freaked out about the whole ethics and games journalism. It would be amazing if someone say, you know what, fuck it, we got free gifts and free trips. Whatever.
10
We're
out
in
of 10.
Paris.
As long as you say, I enjoyed going to Paris and playing Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah.
That's
Someone
fine.
needs to take
You
the
know,
opposite
you
tact.
review the trip as a whole, not just the game.
Yeah.
And despite what I said earlier about Watch Dogs, it is a very good game.
Yeah, I would also
series.
like to
So,
revise my opinion on the previous Watch Dogs.
The game was shit. They didn't pay us for a good review on that one.
No,
You know
but
what I
they
mean?
might do
So
in
if you want me
future,
to
so
say-
we reserve the right to change our opinion at any point.
Depending on how much money you spend on us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Computergame@gmail.com. Alright? Good. Well,
Anyway,
tweets.
there's some tweets from.
That's
Okay,
outrageous.
so we got. Okay, so the first one is from Zach Toms. There's is the area in Dark Souls 3 Sean and Dave missed just bad signposting? Everyone I've talked to missed it.
Saw this.
Which
Saw
area
this
is this?
today. The area we were talking about was the Cathedral of the Deep.
Oh, right, okay. No, it's not bad
Um,
signposting. You're supposed to explore. That's...
But Sean,
Yeah.
I agree with you, and
Yeah.
I will always agree with you on what you are thinking about that area and
Yeah.
where it is and
Yeah.
why it's so easy to miss.
Yeah.
However, it's impossible to defend it without sounding like a Dark Souls man. Do you know what I mean? Oh
True.
no, that's part of the game, mate. But there's a legitimate argument to say, hold on, if this area is essential to progress in a later area of the game, why isn't it signposted clearly so that you don't miss it and have to go all the way back? Now-
Yeah, but if you... We're on the third Dark Souls game now. If you're going in expecting things to be signposted... You...
Basically, it's part of the appeal of the game. And I said something last week and had completely forgotten to mention. Like, I said that the things that you need to do in the game are clearly signposted, but they're not. That's not always the case. The bit that we were up to at that point, you needed a doll to progress, and that doll was in a different part of the game, so it meant us going back. The good thing is with this particular game is that you could travel, you could warp to bonfires from the get-go, so it doesn't really feel like you're going to have to traipse all the way back just to go and pick something up that you've missed. You could just warp there, find it, continue. The only problem is, without the internet, without looking at guides, I would have not known I wouldn't have a clue what to do. You need a doll. And in my head, I've explored everywhere. So I wouldn't know where to begin to think, oh, how am I supposed to get past this point then?
The thing that clued me in is that people were like, oh yeah, have you done the Crystal Sage yet? And I was like, oh, the fuck is that? I've never even...
Yeah.
Like, I thought I was further on in the game than these people, and they were telling me about a boss I'd never heard of. So they're like, oh yeah, it's in the swamp. I was like, all right, okay. Went to the swamp, did that boss, and then, oh, there's another path for me to follow. So, yeah, to an extent, it does rely on you either Googling things or having conversations with your friends, I suppose.
But that's been a staple of the series, and it's what fans like. So if that was taken out, I think that maybe... Put it this way, it's not bad signposting because it was a design decision not to put it in there.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
They didn't try and signpost that area and fail to do so properly. They knew that people would be running past that and have to go back. So yeah, that's the way I kind of justify it. Now, if you're listening to me thinking, fuck off, you're just defending Dark Souls like one of those Dark Souls people, I can't have a go at you for thinking that, because you're absolutely right. But that's all I can do. That's all I can offer to this conversation. I've got to turn into one of them. I apologise.
Dark Souls fans are the fucking worst. Have you seen the shit that Epic Name Bro's been getting?
No, why?
Well, I've not seen it firsthand. Chris Band's been informing me about it. Basically,
so Epic Name Bro is one of these guys that does all the lore on YouTube videos, right?
Yeah, and he's like one of the most prolific and well-known Dark Souls YouTubers. He's gone in like totally blind on Dark Souls 3. Like, 'cause I think Dark Souls 2, he worked on the official guide. So for this one, he was like, right, I don't want to know anything prior to release, and he's bought his own copy, and he's doing videos on it, and he's just doing a blind playthrough, right? And basically, there's been a couple of things, because, you know, as we've discussed on the show, there's like some reuse of certain things, and he's been a bit like, I don't really, that's a bit weird, that seems a bit lazy, but, you know, I guess I'll see how it pans out before judging it. And yeah, everyone in the comments, everyone's just been fucking laying into him, calling him a cunt, saying like, why are you being such a fucking negative prick about this game? It's amazing. It's like, no, he just said he wasn't sure about one thing, and that...
You're such a hater, Epic Name Bro. Stop being such a hater. Why are you hating on Dark Souls?
Yeah, and
the game that you've dedicated your working life to.
Exactly, and everyone's just like, Miyazaki's a fucking genius, how dare you question him? It's like, mate, Dark Souls fans, awful.
As I've always said, I'm a fan of Dark Souls. I'm not a Dark Souls fan. There's a difference. There's a clear difference. But every now and then you do have to imitate a Dark Souls fan just to, you know.
You accidentally catch yourself slipping into it.
Yep. Don't want to go all the way. Don't want to go full Dark Souls fan. I'll tell you that.
Never.
Next question.
Okay, so we got Samuel Packer, which is rumours of an Xbox One and a half. What do you think it will do, or could it run Oculus, as Microsoft had money in Facebook?
That would make sense.
It would, but the Oculus costs way too much money for it to be a viable like home console.
That is also a good point, because it would be competing with PSVR, which is cheap already, and runs on the console you got under your telly.
Yeah.
Unless they do like a pared down one, you know, something which isn't as good,
maybe,
but that still works.
Yeah, based on the same tech, but just I don't know what the spec is of the Oculus Rift these days. But I guess if they just drop the resolution a bit, because I mean the PSVR is not going to be a top-notch headset, is it? It's obviously like concessions are going to have to be made for it to only be, what was it, 400 quid, whatever it is.
See, can you imagine if they did that, though? People would be really pissed off.
Yes.
Like, if at E3 they come out and they say, we've got a new Xbox coming out, and it will do virtual reality, and together it will cost 700 quid. And then, I don't think people are going to be happy with that. It's, you know...
Yeah,
but that's not really too dissimilar from Sony. If Sony say, hey, PSVR out in November, hey, PS 4.5 out in October... You know, there's some people will be spending 800 quid on the new.
The difference.
Yeah, but you don't need to though. You don't need to get the new console.
The difference is that what James is saying is that if Microsoft bought out a new Xbox and only that new Xbox could run the VR headset, that's when you go, whoa, no, bullshit.
That would be crazy, yeah.
Not having that.
That'd be absolute suicide.
You know what that is? I mean, that's a Don Matrick move. I don't think
Yeah,
they'll do that.
yeah.
I don't think they'll do that now.
I was looking at my time hop this morning, as is my ego, and I saw a couple of tweets where I was mentioning, oh yeah, I totally forgot that at some point Don Matrick said, hey, if you haven't got the internet, then get a 360, deal with it. Like, you know, if you live in a shit area for internet, buy a 360. We've got that on the market. Unbelievable. What an insane man.
People probably did that. They're probably pretty sick now, since they've discontinued it.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely gutted with themselves.
Yeah.
Next question.
Okay, so this is Shimmy Hill. We've got, like Matt, I've put many hours into Destiny. Is it a contender for your favourite game of all time or an addiction?
I mean, I haven't played Destiny for a long time now, and I think that's probably common with a fair number of Destiny fans. I know you're probably the same, aren't you, Sean?
Yeah, I've still not been back, even though they've added a bunch of new stuff.
Yeah, I do want to.
I'm desperate to get back.
I've listened to Midnight Resistance, and after hearing Owen talk about it, I do want to, but I'm just scared. If I go back in, I'll be back in my spreadsheets, back and listen to the podcast.
Spreadsheets.
Can I say something about that? And I probably shouldn't. I probably should drop it, but it did drop into my mind the moment I was listening to Midnight Resistance this week. Yeah. When Owen was saying, "Oh yeah, and it's really cool when you've got illuminated armor, and then you look behind and see 3 guys chasing you." I thought, why is that, Owen? Because you ran off doing your own fucking thing again. Little joke for Owen there. But yeah, I want to get back to it big time, man. Yeah. Like, I'm desperate to get back to Destiny. But I would never consider it up there with one of my games of the year. Like games of all time, sorry.
But it must. I mean, I hadn't ever considered it, but it must do, really. I mean, like, the raid is incredible. It's definitely one of the best game things I've ever done.
That's what drags it up, isn't it? That first time
but
we
PvP
did the raid
is immensely fun. Yeah, I put I think 300, 400 hours, whatever it is, into it. I mean, it must be one of my top games of all time. But I would never consider it that way, sadly. But I need to get back into that, really. It wasn't. It was definitely an addiction.
Because there's been so many moments with it where I've been so frustrated with something that it's doing, or so disinterested in a certain portion of the game that maybe I haven't. Maybe there's something like take Left 4 Dead 2. I put that up there with one of my favourite games of all time, right? And that's because there's not a moment in it where I'm getting pissed off with it. You know what I mean? There's not one bit of that game where I'm thinking, oh, what a load of shit. Why is it making me do this? Whereas I had that a lot in Destiny. However, the highs were higher. You know what I mean? Like, there was nothing in Left 4 Dead 2 that can match up with the first time we did Vault of Glass. In fact, there's not much in gaming that can match up with the time done in Vault of Glass. And I think maybe the horrible stuff where we were farming towards the beginning of the game's life and stuff like that, I've still got bad memories of that, and it still holds me back from saying, yeah, this is one of the best games of all time.
Yeah, I was always willing to push through that, and I did on many an evening and morning and day.
You see, I want to say, no, don't be daft, it wasn't an addiction, it was just very good, and everyone I knew was playing it. So it was just a cool thing to have that again, where you can just turn a console on. Oh, look, everyone's playing Destiny. I will join them and have a good time. But then there's stupid shit like getting the exotic sword. That was fucking horrific, and I don't know why I did it. Well, I do, because it was addictive.
Because you loved it, yeah.
Yeah. So that, like, to an extent, I would say no, it's not just addictive, but then there are bits of it that sort of go into that territory, I guess. But then, that's just for you to monitor. Like, if you feel like you're just doing it out of sheer compulsion rather than just because you're enjoying it, then stop playing.
I mean, well, we had that. I mean, me and John Denton had that conversation many a time when John always said, once I start doing things just for the sake of it or not having fun, then stop. But the truth is, I was also sort of having fun just doing the shit grinding.
Because that's fine. I mean, if that's
the shooting was still bloody good. The shooting was still good. Even if I was collecting silly things, the fact I got to shoot a gun, it still felt great, and I was still happy to do that.
I put it this way, I'd be much more interested to get back involved with Destiny than I ever would The Division. Yeah, that's clear.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a Division, and I would like to go back into it, but obviously a lot of people said, on the latest update was the raid, and it was really fun on Giant Bomb this week where Jeff says that it's not a raid, it's just a hard mission. So okay,
Right.
great. So it's nothing like a Destiny raid. And again, I haven't played it, I can't really compare, but I hear it's more of a horde mode than a full Destiny style raid, which is a bit disappointing.
Big time. Right, that's it for questions this week, and that's it for the show. Matt's going to bombard you with a few links.
Yeah, this show is on iTunes. Of course, it's on iTunes. Well, what show isn't on iTunes? Please subscribe and leave a review. Reviews are good, I guess. New episodes of the show go up on YouTube every Wednesday, as well as some other videos, archives of streams that we do go up on YouTube. Dave's also put up an expert interview, which is a new sort of series we're doing on YouTube. So check that out.
Top hits on our channel, Matt. That's got
It is the most views. Yes, well done, Dave.
most views on that one.
To get in contact with the show, send your questions if you want to thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. Because email's still cool, right? Still relevant. We are at Computer Game Pod on Twitter, facebook.com/thecomputergameshow, and also twitch.tv/thecomputergameshow. We're on Overcast on iOS. If you've got Android, we're on Pocket Casts, TuneIn Radio, and Stitcher. And I think that's pretty much it.
What about SoundCloud, Matt?
Yeah, I've sort of ditched SoundCloud now. Sorry. So yeah, actually, you know what? SoundCloud, I thought I could upload forever. It turns out there's quite a limit, and I'm not going to pay for a pro license. So sorry. So no more SoundCloud. I'm sorry, everyone.
How many listeners were we getting on SoundCloud a week?
It probably wasn't enough hassle, and it certainly wasn't enough to pay for a pro license.
Fair enough. All right then. Well, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with more video games to talk about, I suppose. I better try and track that down. I think I want to try and get Ratchet and Clank, but I haven't fully decided yet.
I've heard nothing but good stuff about that game.
Everyone's been going nuts over that. Like, the reviews have been through the roof, some of them.
Number 1 in the charts, Sean. It knocked
Whoa.
Dark Souls off the top of the charts.
Fuck's sake.
Crazy,
I've
isn't
never
it?
played a Ratchet and Clank game.
Well, it
Star
just goes
Fox-
to show if you put proper signposting in.
There you go.
You can get to number 1.
Star Fox got to number 6. Anyway, goodbye.
Jesus. Bye.